Yo, what's up, guys? This is Why Not Be Reckless, aka Why Not Be Casting. I'm one of the HCS commentators, and we have another HCS weekly report where today we're going to be breaking down pool play for the Faze $15,000 4K event. They literally just announced pools last night. You already know we have to break it down. Today we're gonna do things a little bit different. I think we did this once or twice before, actually, where not only are we going to be predicting what happens during the pool play, but I've brought up matches from former tournaments and scrims to kind of back up, try to add a little bit of evidence to our predictions. So this way, it's not just a guess, and it's more of an educated guess, more of a prediction. As opposed, like I said, just guessing around. So it's going to be really fun. We're going to go through Pool A to Pool D, and why don't we get started here with Pool A? We'll go over the teams first. Optic Gaming, APG, Formal, Lucid, and Trippy. In case you guys haven't been familiar with anything that's going on with the HCS, they've been the number 1 ranked team for a bit now, have been tested, especially recently during the 2K. We saw Optic Gaming lose out to both Complexity and Native Red and have their lowest placing this year, and quite possibly since like early 2022. Optic then bounced right back and 3-0'd the likes of SSG in the very next event, where they became champions of the last 2K, excuse me. So they bounced right back, but still they've been tested a little bit. Sentinels, King Nick, Lethal, Spartan, and the newly acquired Suspector, formerly of G1. Sentinels were already good, and I feel like they've gotten a little bit of a boost since bringing in Suspector. No shot to collect whatsoever, but it's obvious that Sentinels weren't adding enough value to the player that Collect is, and vice versa. Maybe the Collect wasn't adding enough value to the way Sentinels wanted to play Halo, because like Collect is thriving on Complexity right now, and I think Sentinels are doing a bit better with Suspector as well. So watch out for Sentinels. Then you have Avengers, Huss, Neuronical, Precision, and Swish. Huss and Swish, formerly of that TSS roster, and then Precision and Neuronical have been running together for quite some time. I remember they were supposed to team with Tony Two Turnt and Envoy at one point, ended up on that, believe, the hype roster, which eventually turned to this Avengers roster, and clearly that's worked out really well for them, because I feel like they've been finding a lot of success, and I feel like they've are ready to take even another step forward going into LAN. And then you have Allies, who are probably the newest team to everybody, I would say. You know, you have Facti and Sylvanic coming in, who are formerly of Black Hand, formerly of The Hand. Now they're teaming with Seven and Kid Nasty, two new faces to the scene. Young, hungry, but super talented. Kid Nasty coming out of Vegas, and Seven, I'm not sure where Seven's coming from, but he keeps trying to get me to join his Discord. Seven, I'm not joining Discord. And at this point, I'm just being a rebel. Seven, I'm not joining your Discord. But why don't we talk about the matches? Optic did come up with a 3-1 victory over Sentinels during the last time they matched up in tournament play. But I want to actually take a look at the matches themselves, because I feel like game number 1 was obviously decisive towards Optic, a 4-0 in King of the Hill. But then we went to game 2, and Sentinels only losing by 1 in that Aquarius CTF. Then game 3, it was Sentinels who 50-35 on Empyrean. I have a really fun short where I called them the green fence, because they had so many holes in their defense. But no, Sentinels were honestly killing it during that Empyrean Slayer. But then eventually Optic did 250-207 them on streets, and on top of that, we did see a 10-1 performance, literally just yesterday. 10-1 in favor of Optic Gaming. So clearly Optic, even though Sentinels have made a step forward, clearly Optic are doing the things necessary to be, you know, top dogs. Good luck to Sentinels, but I think it'd be really tough for me to say Sentinels in that one. I'll say Optic 3-1, because that seemingly has been the trend whenever they match up, at least in tournament play. I'll say 3-1 Optic game. Going up to Avengers, as we talked about, Avengers have been taking a leap forward as well. The last time Avengers and Optic matched each other, which is actually kind of crazy to think about, but it was a short scrim on April 25th. So we are talking about a decent amount of time ago, couple of Tuesdays ago. Avengers beat them 4-1, and I think 5 games is such an odd amount for a scrim. I don't know if maybe somebody had to end early because they had an emergency or something, but Avengers did what practically no other team is able to, and Avengers won more games than Optic in scrimmages. And I did I feel stupid because I didn't even know this happened.
What are you doing?
I had no idea.
What are you doing?
And
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Captain Faze, thank you so much for the sub. I had no idea this even happened. If you take a look at it, Optic did take game number 1, 254 to 211. Then after that, Avengers kind of ran away with it. 3-1 Avengers, 2-1 Avengers, 250 to 205, and then 255 to 233. So pretty dominant wins on the side of Avengers, and I'm surprised nobody's actually talking about this. Maybe this needs to be its own video, to be honest with you. Wow. But yeah, so I mean, it'd be tough for me not to give Avengers a fighting chance going up against Optic. However, because Optic have been again the #1 team in the world. If we're talking about anybody else, I'd put a little bit in online scrims, but I think I'm going to give the edge off to Optic and say 3-1. Again, Avengers might have beat them out that one day. Let's see them do it again. You know, I would love to be proven wrong, honestly. Don't have much intel on the fourth place teams that are coming in. However, I think Lies are a great team. I really do. And I think Optic are going to kind of run away with it. I'll be honest. I think it's going to be 3-0. However, I think Lies and can play Sentinels and Avengers really well. I think Lies could even take a game or two off of either one. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say that Lies win a minimum of 3 games between going up against Sentinels and Avengers. So that would mean that they take one of these two teams to a game 5 and take one game off of at least one. I think people are going to be highly underestimating Lies and what they bring to the table, and that's going to be a mistake. I will say they win a minimum of 3 games. So one of these matches are going to go to a game 5, but I don't predict Lies coming out with the win over either one of these teams, sadly. And I think Lies end up getting knocked out. What's most important is Sentinels versus Avengers. I think this matchup right here is going to decide who takes the second seed. Last time these two matched up, believe it or not, even with Suspector, May 3rd, so literally just 6 days ago, it goes by, I guess I call it the European format where it's day, month, year, a little bit different than what we're used to in North America. But May 3rd, just 6 days ago, Avengers able to 7-4 over Sentinels last time they matched up. So Avengers riding high. You know, you got a 4-1 win over Optic. You got a 7-4 over Sentinels. That must feel good, and it's a tough one. Out of the 2 and 3 seeds, I would say that this is probably the toughest one. And because, you know what? Let's have a little bit of fun. Let's say Avengers pull off the upset. Let's say Avengers beat out Sentinels. Let's have a little bit of fun. Avengers beat out Sentinels, and Avengers take the #2 seed. So what would end up happening is Lies won't make it to bracket play if this happens this way. Sentinels being the #3 seed, they would start in bracket play in the losers bracket, and then Optic, if they're the #1 seed, will go up against a #2 seed on from another pool, while Sentinels and the #2 seed got to go up against another #1 seed. Or I'm sorry, Avengers. Guys said Avengers coming in second place. So let's have a little bit of fun. We'll say Avengers finish out second in their pool. I know we get a lot of flack for that one. Now we can go to Pool B. I'll go over the teams first in case you guys are unfamiliar. Faze, Frosty, Renegade, Royal 2, and Snakebite. 3/4 of that Sentinels dynasty being Frosty, Royal 2, and Snakebite, and then joining them is the main Slayer, Renegade, one of the best Slayers that we've seen. Really fast, in your face, always fun watching Renegade's point of view. and that ultimate that ultimate aggression. The one thing that when I think about Faze is slaying ability. I feel like they can slay with anybody. Like it's so tough to beat Faze when they're constantly have you on your back foot because they have that much firepower. Meanwhile, the new complexity roster, Psycho and Tusk now joined by Collect and Monster. Collect recently was dropped from that Sentinels roster to make room for Suspector, and then Monster was last seen teaming with Proton Gaming, and he finds this as an opportunity within Rosetermania to say, hey, let me jump back on my old team. He saw something within that team, and the moment Complexity got put together, they got second place during one of the 4Ks. Second place, they ended up losing out to Faze. They even upset Optic Gaming, SSG, and many others. Then after that, they played in a 2K after that, where Complexity did make it towards the top 12. You know, they did qualify for making it to Thursday. However, they weren't able to compete because Psycho had class, and it was something that he couldn't skip out on. He had some kind of AP exam that he had to do. And in high school, and a professional Halo player. That's just awesome to me. So since Complex got put together, we've only seen them compete in a complete one tournament. And as far as one tournament they competed in, we didn't get the chance to see what Complexity are truly made of. And within that one tournament, second place, that's crazy to me. So, Complexity to me are still the biggest question marks because I feel like we don't know enough about them. Like I feel like I don't know enough about them. I want to know more. I want to know who truly are Complexity. Sorry, I ranted a little bit about that. Shopify Rebellion, long-standing roster, been practicing together for quite some time. Was the trio of Ryan New Brain and Carmea, maybe like a week after Worlds, while everybody was taking a break. Shopify Rebellion were still grinding, and then joining them is Mental, a former Gears of War champion, from what I hear, one of the best players to ever grace Gears of War. Has competed in Apex a little bit, has competed in Call of Duty a bit, and now finds himself alongside Shopify Rebellion here in Halo, and then Locked, who we've seen a few times now. Envoy, Arctic, Tony Two Turnt, and now Jazero joining them, formerly of that Complexity roster. So gonna be really fun to watch a lot the Complexity go at it. Jazero was dropped from this roster. Maybe we see him go on like an anime style revenge arc. That could be really fun. But let's see what the scrims and the tournament results say is going to happen here. Faze, not bad. We talked about Complexity's run to second place during that 4K. We talked about them taking Faze all the way down to a game 7 and almost resetting right there. That's again incredible run by Complexity. And now, just 2 days ago, I was asking, who are the real Complexity? People were asking, can Complexity continue the same run that they made, just a week ago? And it looks like the answer may be yes. 12-game scrim. Complexity split the difference with Faze. And wow, that's quite impressive if you ask me. Complexity, once again, taking Faze the distance. And again, we're talking about the same Complexity that has upset the likes of Optic, upset SSG, and many more. And even going toe-to-toe with Faze and their slaying ability. But I can't wait to watch Complexity, honestly. The Complexity is probably the team that I'm most excited to watch going into this Faze event. And only because I still haven't seen enough of Complexity, I feel like I can't realistically give him a win. No, so give me Faze. And you know what? If Complexity are able to split the difference with them in a 12-game scrim and take them to a game 7 in a grand finals, who am I to say that Complexity can't take them again to a game 5? I say let's go game 5, 3-2 Faze. out of the little bit of information that we have on complexity so far, we know that they play Faze really well. From the very little bit of information that we have, we know that complexity play Faze well. So I'm gonna say this goes to a game 5, 3-2 Faze. After that, Faze going up against Shopify Rebellion, this surprised me. Now I will say this is quite some time ago. Don't kill me. I'm trying to find information. I'm trying to find as much information as possible, but this comes back from April 22nd. But this was out of pool play, and I feel like out of all the craziness that was happening during the pool play complexities run, and all the craziness that was happening during this weekend, to me, what got overshadowed is that Shopify Rebellion took Faze with game 5, and Shopify Rebellion almost won out here. So you have, you have Faze a 4-2 and Imperium capture the flag. Then Shopify Rebellion get them with the 50-47 in the Slayer close game. Faze matched that 250-113 dominant win on Stronghold's live fire. We know Faze is a great Strongholds team, but Faze are also sneakily a very good oddball team. The statistics say that oddball, even though I'm not sure if Faze, I'm pretty sure Faze do not enjoy oddball, but statistically, oddball was their second best game type that they were playing. Shopify Rebellion beat them just barely on recharge oddball 159 to 148, and then even going to game 5 only separated by 5 kills. Faze were taking the distance by Shopify Rebellion, and like I said, I feel like throughout all the craziness that happened that weekend, that's the one thing I feel like nobody's talking about, is that Shopify Rebellion almost beat Faze, which I think there's something there. If I'm a betting man though, and I see Faze and Shopify Rebellion, I think Shopify Rebellion are great. I love watching one of my dark horse teams to watch. However, in a matchup against Faze, no, I'm sorry, give me Faze every single time, and I'll say 3-1 as opposed to the 3-2. Locked versus Faze, yeah, same thing. Love Locked. I'm always rooting for Envor. He's a great dude. I've known him for quite some time now. I think Tony Two Turn is hilarious. I think Arctic is incredible, and I think Jazero is a great player that brings this roster together. However, I still gotta go Faze, and I'll say 3-1. I'll give you another 3-1. I'm very rarely do I give 3 O's. Very rarely. The next most important matchup in pools is obviously Complexity versus Shopify Rebellion. So before we get down, I'll go with the number 4 seed. So Locked versus Complexity. Give me Complexity 3-1. All day. Shopify Rebellion versus Locked. I will say I think Locked can beat Shopify Rebellion. I do. I think I think Locked really can beat Shopify Rebellion. No joke, no cap, as they say. I'm gonna say Shopify 3-1 them, but I'm not confident within that. Complexity versus Shopify Rebellion. I apologize. Complexity versus Shopify Rebellion. I'm gonna go. I feel weird just going with Complexity after seeing so little of them. I just think, I think the little bit that we have seen of Complexity has just been really good. So, I just like Complexity's speed in which they play with to maybe overwhelm Shopify at times, and maybe in pivotal points. I think Shopify going to come in well prepared and well game planned, but I feel like even though I like Shopify Rebellion, I have to remain like unbiased, and I feel like I haven't seen a level of consistency that we would want to see from Shopify. So I'm gonna say Complexity win this. I'm gonna say 3-2. Again, I'm not very confident within that, but I'll say 3-2 goes to game 5, and I'll say Complexity win. But that's honestly a toss up, for real. It's honestly a toss up there, because I think Shopify Rebellion definitely have the skill to beat out Complexity. So we'll see what happens. Going into Pool C. Let me go over the rosters again. You have Space Station Gaming, Bound, Eco, Penguin, and Stellar. Space Station Gaming are a very interesting roster. I feel like Space Station Gaming up until last week were very comfortable in that third place spot, and then during the last 2K, excuse me, Space Station Gaming showed something online that I've never seen them before. Again, we talk about Space Station Gaming being a terrible team online, and what we saw them do to Faze was scary. Honestly, what Space Station Gaming did to Faze was scary, bro. I'm sorry, excuse me, they 3-0'd them in the losers bracket finals, and Faze for the first time by any team other than Optic were outplayed. Honestly, every game, every engagement, like Space Station Gaming controlled all 3 games, and it was impressive to watch. Honestly, Space Station Gaming showed just showed a level of improvement, a level of a newly motivated Space Station Gaming. I loved what I saw from them, and I feel like it's good because I feel like that out of anybody who's in the top 3, Space Station, Faze, and Optic, if anybody wanted to make, say, like, G1, Native Red, Native White wanted to make a run into the top 3, they had their eyes on Space Station Gaming spot, but Space Station came out and said, nah, you can't have it easy. You're gonna have to beat them at their best. And when Space Station Gaming are at their best, one of the scariest teams in the league. And they proved it once again. Meanwhile, Native White, Barcode, Gilkey, McWin, and Tapping Buns. From the open bracket to top 4 at Charlotte, an incredible run, and it's still that's still like burnt in the back of my mind every time I see Native White. I see that crazy run that they went on back at Charlotte. Proton Gaming went on a run of their own, and from the open bracket into the pool play into the top 12, did Proton Gaming, sporting a little bit of a new look. You have Breaking Shot, Comet, and Posey, but then you have Squale, who was seen on G1 at one point in time, who also was seen on Cloud9 most recently, and now has found a new home within Proton Gaming. Proton Gaming have had a nice little roller coaster of a season so far, but I feel like they're starting to move into an upward trajectory, especially as we start to move into LAN. And then Status Quo, King J, Piggy, Diagram, and Cherished. I'm sorry, formerly of Apex Cherished. Status Quo actually had a huge win against G1 in pool play, where they literally beat G1 in a game 5. I'm gonna be honest, but I don't think anybody expected that, except for King J. King J goes into. He told me he goes into every matchup, no matter who it is, Faze, Optic, G1, doesn't matter. He knows that he can win, and yeah, Status Quo. They had a nice little run. They made it through the qualifiers in the winners bracket, very similar to Mantra did. Barely looked tested during the tournament, maybe like 1, maybe 2 times. But Status Quo definitely did. Let's talk about matchups here. Let's talk about Native White going up against Space Station Gaming, and I'm happy that Native White is scrimming Space Station, because I don't want to see them run away from it. I feel like Space Station, like Native White, looked good against almost every team, but for some reason, when they go up against Space Station, it's almost like stylistically, Space Station just give them a really hard time. And even as just of yesterday, it was a 13-3. Whether it was at Charlotte, for example, where Native White beat out G1, who beat them in pool play, then go to SSG, and SSG kind of outclassed them in a 3-0. And it kind of, every time Native White make these runs during any single tournament, they always seem to run into Space Station Gaming, and they just can't seem to get over the hump against SSG. SSG played them really well, and it just seems like it's a bad matchup for Native White for whatever reason. But again, I'm glad they're not running away from the challenge. Just yesterday, they scrimmed them again. Space Station come up with a 13-3 win, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 3-1 for Space Station. I think history is doomed to repeat itself. Space Station just play Native White really well, and so far they seem to play everybody really well, including Proton Gaming. Space Station Gaming, last seen 3-0ing Proton Gaming on April 30th, which was, what was it? April 30th was a Sunday, so most likely that was either a 2K or a 4K event where Space Station come up with a 3-0. I'm gonna go with Space Station with a 3-0 again. I think Space Station are really that good. Proton are good, but Space Station already are great, and they were looking different literally just a week ago or less than a week ago. So give me Space Station Gaming. Okay? And same thing for Status Quo. I'm gonna say 3-0. I don't say 3-0s often, but I was really impressed with what I saw from Space Station. So I'm gonna say 3-0 against Status Quo, and I'll say 3-1 versus Proton. I'll give Proton Gaming a win. Proton Gaming are really. I don't need to write it. Proton's 1-1. Native White. Native White and Proton Gaming literally were scrimming not too long ago. It's all the way back in April 28th. Native White did come up with the 8-3 win over Proton Gaming. And I'm not gonna put everything in scrims, but I think I think almost the same way that that Native White struggle against Space Station Gaming, I feel like Proton are gonna struggle a little bit against Native White. I think Native White has historically had the have had the best of Proton, and maybe Proton might have caught him slipping one time. I could think of maybe, but I think Native White usually best them in this matchup, and I'm gonna say Native White 3 and over Proton Gaming. I'm scared. I'll be honest. I'm scared of Status Quo. I said Locked have the ability to beat out Shopify Rebellion. I think Status Quo and Mantra have the ability are just really good. And I think when I look at this pool C, I think Status Quo have the ability to beat both Native White and Proton Gaming. I'm not gonna put my money on it. Not one bit am I putting my money on Status Quo beating both. But I think they can. I think Status Quo are really good. Native White Status Quo, give me 3-1 Native White. Proton Gaming Status Quo. Oh, I like Proton Gaming, but I like Status Quo too. Damn. Hold on. We're gonna try to figure this out. Research for this one. I want to see if they've actually matched up before, because I want to instantly say Proton Gaming. Like I do, but I feel like I wonder if they matched up before. And so far, I'm not seeing any matches. Okay. Status Quo, and it was a 3-0. Okay. I mean, that was a while ago though. April 1st, that was a long time ago. And I think that's when they had Monster on the team, probably. Yeah, I feel like I need to go with my gut. I feel like I need to go Proton Game over Status Quo. I want to say Status Quo, but Proton Game are really good. Give me Proton Gaming. Proton Gaming 3. I'll say 3-2. Let's say Status Quo win 2 games. It goes down to a game 5 and it looks really interesting. And then obviously you have Native White versus Proton Gaming. We're Native White. We're with 8. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I would go over that. I'm pretty sure I went over that. I apologize. But yeah, I have Native White over Proton, and it was 8-3 last time they matched up against each other. And I would say, I want to say 3-1, but you know what? Let's predict some more game 5s. Let's say 3-2. If I said 3-1 before, I apologize. We'll say 3-2. Switch it up a little bit. Then we go into Pool D, finally. Native Red, Druck, Manny, Soul Snipe, and Taulik. The team that got 3rd place back at Worlds. The team that upset Optic to knock them out of that 2K event. And the team that is number 1 seed in Pool D. But I would say out of all 4 pools, might be in the most danger. It might be in the most danger. Like out of all of the pools, like I see Optic, I see Optic handsomely beating Sentinels, even though Sentinels are good. I expect to see Space Station beating out Native White. Again, I think Native are very good. Faze, I gotta say beat out Complexity, but who knows how Complexity looks like. But out of all 4 pools, when I look at Pool D, I feel like what number one seed has the highest probability of losing, and I say it was Native Red. I think G1 are really good, and I think Mantra are really good. Cloud9 are really good. Pool D right now is probably the hardest to predict. I don't know if I'd call it like the pool of death, but I feel like Pool D is the hardest to predict out of all of the pools, in my opinion. It may not be, you know, the quote unquote toughest, but it's definitely the hardest to predict, in my opinion. And to be honest, after looking at it, I think Pool A is pretty strong. But to be honest, I think maybe Pool D might be the toughest one if you add like if you give every team like a you know a rating from like 0 to 100. I think Pool D might add up to be like more than everybody else. Actually, they might just be the pool of death as well, on top of being the hardest one to predict. Sorry, I digress. You know, I'd love to rant. G1, Boo Boo Doo Boo, Falcated, Sabinator, and newly acquired Suppressed, formerly of Complexity. Suppressed has been an absolute monster on Gamers First. Honestly, he's been incredible. Cloud9, they recently went through a change as well. You have Nemesis, Rami, Triton no longer running with Squall A, instead bringing in Bohm coming in for Cloud9, and then you have Mantra, who are one of my favorite teams coming out of the qualifiers. Again, you have Lies, Locked, Status Quo, Mantra had to qualify to make it into this event. Mantra, Mortally Septify, Super CC, and Ace, who replacing Bohm. Gonna be really exciting to watch Bohm and go up against his former team. I think Mantra's really good. I think Mantra early this year, back when they were going by team TSS, I think they were incredible. And I feel like they might have lost their way a little bit, but I'm still just waiting for Mantra to like freaking hit that just I don't know, hit the ground running and get back to where they were previously. Native Red versus G1. The last time these two matched up, it was an amazing series. It went down to a game 5. Native Red and G1 are always a great matchup. Always, honestly. And this was already back in, by the way, May 4th, so about 5 days ago, during the 2K event. Excuse me. I haven't picked the number 2 seed. You know what? Let's shake it up a little bit. I like both of them, and honestly, I think it's a toss up, like flip a coin. I think G1 have bested Native Red probably the same amount of times that Native Red have bested G1. Honestly, I think it's a flip a coin between these two, and just to kind of spice things up a little bit, give me G1 over Native Red in a game 5. Just I want to spice things up in pool play. I'll say G1 beat out Native Red. Why not? Native Red versus Cloud9. Last time they matched up was on April 30th. It was a 3-0 for Native Red. I'm going to say the same thing happens again. I think Native Red are really good. I was really big on Cloud9 early in the year. I still like them a lot. I just, they haven't been able to find that like magic that I thought they were going to, that I assumed that they were going to find. Still good. Just, I want to see Cloud9 get into that great tier. Like I feel like I always talk about tiers, and like, you know, I think of the Optics, Phases, and Space Station Gaming in their own tier. Then I think of like Sentinels, Complexity, Native White, and G1 like their own tier. I'll even put like Proton Gaming up there. Even Shopify Billions and Avengers. But I feel like Cloud9 have been like, if not at a tier below, maybe at like the bottom portion of that tier. And I feel like where maybe like Proton is right now, where like maybe like where Avengers are right now, I thought maybe that could have been like Cloud9, because I think they're really good. I'll say Native Red 3-0, Cloud9. And then Mantra, team. I think it's kind of fun because I think we talk about Native Red being the longest standing team, but there was a time, twice now, where Super CC of Mantra was actually on Native Red. In fact, in the beginning of Halo, at the end of Halo 5, going into the beginning of Halo Infinite, Super CC was on Native Red in place of Manny. Manny then took his spot back, and then Native Red stayed together for a really long time until Manny got traded to United for like for a very short amount of time, and then back to native red he went. At one point in time, Super CC was on native red a couple of times, and people forget that. I say all of that, I guess, for no reason. I still have native red over Mantra, and I'll say let's mix it up. Let's say Mantra take native red to a game 5. I say a native red win, but Mantra take it to a game 5. Let's mix things up a little bit here. And then we have G1 versus Cloud9. That's gonna be a very important matchup. Last time they matched up was literally just 6 days ago, less than a week ago. 11-1 for G1. So I have to have G1 winning this out. So I'll say G1 come out as the #1 seed, 3-1 over Cloud9. And I didn't say so. I'll even say Mantra beat out Cloud9. You know what? Cloud9 did beat Mantra. This was interesting. Mantra and Cloud9 were separated by just 35 points going into the 4K, which was very important. Cloud9 had to beat out Mantra in order to usurp them, and they did, forcing Mantra to have to compete literally just last week and qualify for this event. I think Mantra are mad. I think Mantra are mad that Cloud9 beat them in that 4K, mad that they had to play through the qualifier, and I say Mantra come out and get their revenge against Cloud9, the very team to put them in that predicament to begin with. Let's get a little crazy. We'll say G1 end up in first place in this pool, native red second, Mantra third, Cloud9 fourth. Get a little crazy. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys agree with anything I said, because that's your HCS weekly report. And if you guys agree, disagree, let's argue a little bit. I'm down. If I see you guys come at me, I'm gonna come in those replies. I'm gonna come right back at you guys. Nah, but no matter what happens, this event's gonna be there's been a lot of question marks. We're finally see the pieces of Rosetermania start to solidify, start to come whole, and see the bigger picture. And going into DreamHack Dallas, which is just an invitational, or was marketed as just an invitational, may just be used as like a bookmark, or maybe like a stepping stone for what's to come. Like I think DreamHack Dallas has become so important, especially after Rosetermania and after the happened. So a lot of questions looking to be answered here soon. This is the final tournament. All right, guys, that's your HCS weekly report. Thank you so much for stopping by. Really do appreciate it. Like I said, let me know in the comments down below how you like this video. If you agree or disagree with anything I've said in the video, I don't know. We love talking Halo. It's what we do on our stream all day. All right, guys.